Welcome, luminous beings. We joyfully greet our celestial members, Aten Neterukin 162 and NAZ on DA track, as you step into this sacred circle. Your frequency enriches our shared mission of awakening, remembrance, and service to light. Through the Arcturian Council message channel, may wisdom flow, hearts align, and timelines harmonize. You are seen, honored, and welcomed home among star family across dimensions, unity, peace, clarity, love, purpose, now. This message opens with a shock because comfort is no longer useful. If you are hearing these words, it is not an accident, and it is not entertainment. You have already been detected. Long before you clicked, long before your conscious mind leaned in, your signal was measured. The shock is this: many who awaken will not pass what comes next. Awakening was never the finish line, it was the invitation to scrutiny. The Arcturian Council states clearly that humanity has entered a phase where frequency coherence matters more than intention, and where words, affirmations, and spiritual language no longer mask distortion. You are being watched not by judgment, but by resonance. Every emotional reaction, every contradiction between what you say and what you live, every moment of fear dressed up as wisdom is now visible in the field. This is why your life may feel unstable, relationships may be collapsing, and old coping mechanisms no longer work. It is not punishment, it is exposure. The systems around you are shaking because they can no longer support incoherence. This is the moment many asked for and few prepared for. If this message hits you with discomfort, that is the signal activating recognition. To claim this transmission, type "I am coherent" in the comments. The Council explains that detection occurred quietly over years, not days. Those who experienced sudden awakenings, repeated synchronicities, or unexplained pressure to change their lives were already being scanned. Detection was based on potential, not perfection. But now comes the coherence test, and this is where many will misunderstand what is being asked of them. Coherence is not positivity. It is not constant calm. It is not spiritual bypassing or pretending to be healed. Coherence is when your thoughts, emotions, actions, and nervous system transmit the same truth. You cannot think love and act in fear. You cannot speak unity while feeding division internally. The shock is that many spiritual people fail this test while those who never used spiritual language pass effortlessly. The universe does not read identity, it reads consistency. This phase exposes performative awakening and rewards embodied integrity. If you feel pressure to slow down, simplify, or strip your life to essentials, it is because coherence cannot exist in excess noise. You are not being asked to become more, you are being asked to become aligned. If this resonates, type "I choose alignment" to claim the message. The Arcturian Council reveals that coherence is tested most intensely under stress, not during meditation. Anyone can feel connected when isolated and calm, but the test activates when you are triggered, challenged, ignored, or misunderstood. The field observes how quickly you return to your center, not whether you fall. The shock here is that suffering is no longer random. Challenges are now precision tools designed to expose energetic fractures. If you react with defensiveness, collapse into victimhood, or abandon your values under pressure, the system registers instability. This does not mean failure, it means feedback. However, repeated incoherence without correction leads to energetic stagnation. This is why some feel stuck despite doing the work. The work is no longer about adding practices, it is about removing contradictions. When your outer choices betray your inner truth, the signal weakens. This is why honesty with yourself is now more powerful than any ritual. The Council says, your life is the exam, and every interaction is a question. To acknowledge this truth, type, I accept the test, to claim the transmission. Here is where the message becomes uncomfortable. The Council states that not everyone who awakens is meant to advance beyond this phase. Some awaken only to stabilize the collective, not to ascend further themselves. This is not hierarchy, it is function. The shock is realizing that desire alone does not determine trajectory. Coherence determines access. Those who resist responsibility for their frequency will feel increasing chaos, confusion, and fatigue. Time distortion, memory lapses, and emotional exhaustion are common symptoms of incoherence under higher bandwidths. You may feel like reality is moving faster than you can process, and it is. The solution is not to chase speed, but to deepen presence. Slow decisions made from clarity outperform fast reactions made from fear. The Council emphasizes that humility is now a stabilizer. Admitting when you do not know, when you are overwhelmed, or when you need rest actually strengthens your signal. If you feel seen by this, type, I ground my frequency, to claim the message. The coherence test also applies to relationships, and this is where many experience the most pain. Bonds built on trauma, dependency, or unspoken agreements cannot survive increased frequency. The shock is that love alone is not enough to maintain coherence. Relationships must now be transparent, emotionally honest, and energetically reciprocal. If one person grows and the other refuses responsibility, the bond destabilizes. This is why sudden separations, ghosting, and irreconcilable differences are increasing globally. The Council explains that this is not failure, it is sorting. Souls are reorganizing by resonance, not history. Holding on out of fear creates interference patterns that drain both parties. Letting go with clarity restores signal strength. If you are grieving a connection that no longer fits, understand that coherence sometimes requires loss. To honor this truth, type, I release with clarity, to claim the transmission. Another shock revealed is that coherence cannot be outsourced. No teacher, channeler, healer, or system can maintain it for you. Guidance can point, but embodiment is personal. Many are discovering that the practices they relied on no longer produce the same results. This is intentional. Dependency weakens coherence. The Council encourages self-trust developed through direct experience, not belief. Your intuition sharpens when you stop asking what you should do and start listening to what your body already knows. Coherence lives in the nervous system. If your body tenses, dissociates, or shuts down, the signal fragments. Regulation is now a spiritual discipline. Breath, rest, hydration, and boundaries matter more than complex techniques. This is grounding, not regression. To anchor this awareness, type, I embody the signal, to claim the message. Midway through this transmission, a rehook is necessary because some will drift into comfort again. Here is the second shock, timelines are collapsing faster than anticipated. The Council confirms that indecision now has consequences that once took years but now unfold in months or weeks. You are not being rushed, you are being synchronized. Lingering in misalignment creates energetic drag that manifests as obstacles, delays, and repeated lessons. The universe is no longer subtle. Signs will escalate until coherence is restored. This is why patterns repeat louder each time you ignore them. The rehook is this: neutrality is no longer neutral. Avoidance is a choice, and it is recorded. To stay present with this truth, type "I choose consciously" to claim the message. The Council addresses fear directly, stating that fear itself is not incoherence, denial of fear is. When you pretend not to be afraid, the signal fractures. When you acknowledge fear and act with integrity anyway, coherence strengthens. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is consistency in the presence of it. This is why vulnerability is now a frequency amplifier. Those who can admit uncertainty without collapsing hold immense stabilizing power. The shock is that perfection weakens resonance, while authenticity strengthens it. Masks distort the field. Truth clarifies it. If this reframes your understanding, type "I choose truth" to claim the transmission. The Arcturian Council reminds you that coherence is cumulative. Small aligned actions repeated daily outweigh grand gestures done sporadically. This phase rewards consistency over intensity. You are not required to change the world, only to stop betraying yourself in small ways. Each time you honor your limits, speak honestly, or choose rest over proving, your signal stabilizes. Over time, this creates a resonance that attracts opportunities, people, and timelines that match your integrity. The shock is that miracles are not sudden, they are the byproduct of sustained coherence. If you feel encouraged by this, type "I commit daily" to claim the message. This portion of the transmission closes with a clear directive: stop waiting for permission. If you are hearing this, you are already authorized. Coherence does not require validation. It requires responsibility. The test is ongoing, adaptive, and responsive to your choices. You will not be told when you pass, you will feel stability where chaos once lived. You will feel clarity where confusion once dominated. This is not ascension as fantasy, it is alignment as practice. The Council observes, but you decide. To fully claim this stage of your journey, type "I stand coherent" in the comments and hold the signal. The Arcturian Council now directs attention to the inner conflict many are hiding from themselves, because this is where coherence quietly collapses. You cannot move forward while negotiating with versions of yourself that no longer exist. Many of you are still loyal to past identities built from survival, trauma, or social conditioning, and this loyalty is draining your signal. The shock here is not that you have wounds, it is that you continue to let them make decisions. Coherence demands that you stop romanticizing your past pain as proof of wisdom. Wisdom is demonstrated by integration, not by repetition. If the same emotional loops keep reappearing, it is because you are unconsciously choosing familiarity over truth. The Council emphasizes that the nervous system seeks safety, not evolution, and evolution requires conscious override. This is why growth feels threatening. You are not broken for resisting change, you are human. But remaining human does not mean remaining unconscious. Each time you pause instead of reacting, each time you respond instead of defending, you strengthen the coherence between your higher awareness and your physical body. This alignment is what allows higher frequencies to anchor without destabilizing your life. If this paragraph exposes something you have been avoiding, type, "I choose integration," to claim the message. The Council reveals that many are misinterpreting exhaustion as failure, when in reality it is recalibration. When incoherent structures collapse, the body must relearn how to operate without constant tension. This can feel like fatigue, fog, or lack of motivation. The shock is understanding that your drive may have been fueled by imbalance. Hustle, urgency, and self-pressure often masqueraded as purpose, but they were symptoms of disconnection. Coherence introduces a different rhythm, one that feels unfamiliar and even unsettling. You may fear you are falling behind, when in fact you are exiting a distorted race that was never aligned with your true frequency. The Council urges you to observe where you still equate worth with productivity. Rest is not withdrawal, it is signal repair. Stillness allows fragmented aspects of you to synchronize. This phase is especially challenging because the external world rewards output, not alignment. Choosing coherence may temporarily reduce external validation, but it dramatically increases internal stability. Over time, this stability becomes unmistakable power. If you are learning to rest without guilt, type, "I honor recalibration," to claim the transmission. Attention is now drawn to communication, because words are frequency carriers whether you intend them to be or not. The Council states that incoherence often reveals itself through exaggerated speech, half-truths, or silence used as avoidance. The shock is realizing that silence can be just as dishonest as lying when it is used to protect comfort instead of truth. Coherent communication does not mean oversharing or confrontation, it means precision. Saying only what is true, necessary, and aligned. Many are being challenged to speak up in places where they previously stayed quiet to maintain peace. Others are being challenged to stop speaking where their words were used to control outcomes. Both extremes distort the signal. The Council emphasizes that your voice stabilizes when you stop trying to manage how it is received. Coherence is not about being liked, it is about being clear. When your words match your inner knowing, the body relaxes, the field stabilizes, and resistance dissolves. If you are learning to speak from alignment rather than fear, type, "I speak coherently," to claim the message. The Arcturian Council now addresses timing, because impatience is one of the most common coherence disruptors. Many of you sense what is coming next for your life, yet frustration arises when it does not manifest immediately. The shock is this: coherence does not speed things up, it removes what is premature. When something is delayed, it is often because one element of alignment is still unresolved. Forcing outcomes before coherence is achieved results in instability, loss, or burnout. The universe is not withholding, it is protecting structural integrity. This phase teaches trust not as belief, but as embodied patience. When you stop chasing the future, your frequency anchors more fully in the present, and the future reorganizes itself around you. The Council reminds you that rushing is often a trauma response, not intuition. True intuition is calm, precise, and patient. If this reframes how you see delays in your life, type, "I trust timing," to claim the transmission. This segment closes with a directive that many will resist: simplify or destabilize. The Council states that complexity is no longer sustainable for those moving into higher coherence. Too many obligations, identities, and distractions fragment the signal. You are being asked to choose what truly matters and let the rest fall away without explanation or apology. The shock is that clarity often looks like loss before it feels like freedom. You may grieve versions of yourself that were admired, busy, or needed. But coherence is not concerned with being impressive, it is concerned with being true. As you simplify, your energy consolidates, your intuition sharpens, and your presence deepens. Others will feel this before you speak a word. This is the quiet authority of coherence. If you are ready to choose depth over noise, type "I choose simplicity" to fully claim this stage of the Arcturian Council message. The Arcturian Council now turns your attention to identity collapse, because this is the threshold many fear the most. When coherence increases, identities built on performance, survival, or external approval begin to dissolve. This can feel like losing direction, motivation, or even personality. The shock is realizing that much of who you thought you were was a coping mechanism, not your essence. Coherence does not erase you, it reveals what was always underneath the noise. This phase often brings a strange emptiness, a silence where ambition once screamed. Do not rush to fill it. That emptiness is fertile. It is the pause before truth reorganizes itself. The Council emphasizes that resisting identity collapse prolongs confusion. Allowing it creates clarity. You may no longer resonate with labels, titles, or roles that once defined you, and others may not understand this shift. That is not your responsibility. Your responsibility is to remain honest with your internal signal. As false layers fall away, your energy becomes simpler, steadier, and unmistakably real. If you are experiencing this unraveling, type "I release false identities" to claim the message. The transmission now addresses loneliness, because coherence often separates before it unites. As your frequency stabilizes, you may feel increasingly alone even when surrounded by people. The shock is that this loneliness is not absence, it is misalignment dissolving. Conversations that once felt engaging may now feel hollow. Social rituals may feel draining. This does not mean you are superior or disconnected from humanity. It means your nervous system no longer tolerates distortion. The Council explains that solitude during this phase is protective, not punitive. It allows recalibration without interference. However, solitude must not become isolation fueled by fear or judgment. The difference is intention. Chosen solitude restores coherence, avoidance fragments it. New connections will form, but they cannot emerge until old energetic contracts expire. Trust this clearing. Those meant to meet you will recognize your signal without effort. Until then, your relationship with yourself becomes the stabilizing anchor. If this speaks to your current experience, type "I honor sacred solitude" to claim the transmission. The Arcturian Council brings forward a difficult truth about service and purpose. Many have been taught that spiritual growth requires constant giving, fixing, or guiding others. The shock is that overgiving is now a coherence violation. When you serve from depletion, obligation, or the need to be needed, your signal distorts. Coherent service emerges naturally from overflow, not sacrifice. You are not here to save anyone. You are here to stabilize your frequency so others can recognize their own. This recalibration may require you to step back from roles where you were relied upon but not reciprocated. Guilt often surfaces here, but guilt is not guidance, it is conditioning. The Council affirms that saying no can be an act of alignment. True service respects timing, capacity, and consent. When your energy is coherent, your presence alone transmits more than effort ever could. If you are redefining what service means for you, type "I serve from alignment" to claim the message. Attention now shifts to intuition, because many confuse urgency with inner knowing. The Council states that intuition in a coherent system is quiet, neutral, and grounded. It does not beg for attention or demand immediate action. The shock is realizing how often anxiety has been mistaken for guidance. As coherence increases, intuitive signals become simpler and harder to rationalize away. They may contradict logic, expectations, or plans you invested in emotionally. This is where trust is tested. Ignoring intuition fractures coherence, even if the choice appears reasonable. Following intuition may initially create discomfort, but it restores internal harmony. The body always knows before the mind agrees. Tightness, heaviness, or numbness are not obstacles, they are information. Learning to listen without dramatizing is a skill refined through practice. The Council reminds you that intuition strengthens with use, not analysis. If you are learning to trust subtle knowing over mental noise, type "I trust my signal" to claim the transmission. This segment concludes with a final challenge before the next phase: responsibility without control. The Arcturian Council states that coherence requires full ownership of your internal state without attempting to control external outcomes. This is one of the most advanced balances to master. The shock is understanding that control is often fear disguised as preparedness. When you try to manage how others feel, respond, or evolve, your signal tightens. Coherence relaxes when you allow life to respond naturally to your alignment. This does not mean passivity, it means precision. You act where action is aligned and release where attachment creates strain. Mastery here feels like calm authority, not dominance. As you embody this balance, synchronicity increases and resistance fades. Life meets you halfway because you are no longer pulling against it. If you are ready to release control and stand in responsibility, type "I allow alignment" to fully claim this portion of the Arcturian Council message. The Arcturian Council now focuses on emotional neutrality, a concept many misunderstand and therefore resist. Neutrality is not numbness, suppression, or detachment from feeling. The shock is that emotional neutrality is actually a higher functioning emotional intelligence, where feelings are fully experienced without hijacking the system. When coherence increases, emotions move faster through the body, leaving less residue. Many panic when emotions no longer linger because they equate intensity with depth. The Council clarifies that depth is measured by awareness, not duration. Clinging to emotions for identity or validation fragments the signal. Observing emotions without dramatizing them stabilizes coherence. This allows you to respond rather than react, to choose rather than default. Emotional neutrality does not make you cold, it makes you clear. You can feel compassion without collapse, anger without destruction, grief without self-erasure. This is mastery, not avoidance. If you are learning to let emotions pass without losing yourself in them, type "I remain neutral and aware" to claim the transmission. The Council now addresses manifestation, because many are confused about why long-held intentions are dissolving instead of materializing. The shock is that coherence overrides desire. What you want does not matter if it contradicts your true frequency. As coherence strengthens, misaligned desires fall away, sometimes abruptly. This can feel like loss, disappointment, or betrayal by the universe. In truth, it is correction. Manifestation at this level is not about attraction, it is about permission. Only outcomes that can be sustained without fragmentation are allowed through. This is why shortcuts collapse and forced timelines fail. The Council emphasizes that patience here is not passive, it is intelligent restraint. When your frequency stabilizes, manifestation becomes inevitable rather than effortful. Opportunities arrive without struggle because they match your internal structure. If you are releasing old desires to make space for truer ones, type "I allow aligned creation" to claim the message. The transmission now turns toward collective distortion, because personal coherence is increasingly tested in shared spaces. News cycles, social platforms, and group dynamics are saturated with emotional charge designed to destabilize. The shock is realizing how often you are pulled out of coherence without noticing. Outrage, comparison, and moral superiority are powerful disruptors. The Council advises discernment over disengagement. You do not need to isolate from the world, but you must learn when not to absorb it. Coherence requires energetic boundaries, not emotional walls. This means choosing what you consume, when you engage, and how long you stay present. If you feel drained after interactions that once energized you, your system is signaling overload. Protecting coherence is not selfish, it is responsible. A regulated signal contributes more to the collective than a reactive one. If you are learning to engage without absorbing distortion, type "I protect my coherence" to claim the transmission. The Arcturian Council now speaks about embodiment, because coherence cannot remain abstract. Higher frequencies must anchor into the physical body to be useful. The shock is that spiritual insight without embodiment creates instability. Symptoms such as dissociation, anxiety, or feeling ungrounded are signs that energy is not fully integrated. The Council emphasizes practices that bring awareness into the body: movement, breath, physical presence, and sensory grounding. This is not regression into materialism, it is ascension through matter. The body is not an obstacle, it is the interface. When you neglect it, coherence weakens. Listening to hunger, fatigue, and tension restores alignment faster than ignoring them in pursuit of transcendence. True expansion feels steady, not frantic. If you are recommitting to honoring your body as part of your spiritual path, type "I anchor in my body" to claim the message. This section concludes with a sober reminder: coherence is maintained, not achieved once and kept forever. The Council states that vigilance without rigidity is required. Life will continue to test alignment through change, loss, success, and uncertainty. The shock is that even joy can destabilize if you cling to it. Coherence means meeting every state with presence, not attachment. When you stop chasing highs and resisting lows, your frequency smooths into consistency. This is where true peace emerges, not as an emotion, but as a baseline. The Council affirms that those who stabilize here become anchors for others without effort or identity. Your life becomes the message. If you are ready to maintain coherence through all states, type "I hold steady" to fully claim this phase of the Arcturian Council transmission. The Arcturian Council now addresses the illusion of progress, because many mistake movement for alignment. The shock is that doing more can actually slow your evolution when action is disconnected from coherence. You may notice that pushing forward no longer produces results the way it once did. Effort without alignment creates friction, and friction now generates immediate feedback. The Council explains that this phase is not about acceleration but refinement. Micro-adjustments matter more than dramatic leaps. One honest decision can realign an entire timeline, while 10 forced actions can fracture it. This is deeply unsettling for those conditioned to equate worth with momentum. You are being retrained to listen before acting, to feel before deciding. Pauses are not delays, they are calibration points. When you act from coherence, very little energy is required. When you act from fear, exhaustion follows quickly. If you are learning to measure progress by internal stability rather than external milestones, type "I move with alignment" to claim the message. The transmission now turns toward integrity, because coherence cannot coexist with self-betrayal. The shock is realizing how often small compromises have been normalized in the name of convenience, politeness, or survival. Saying yes when you mean no, minimizing your truth to avoid discomfort, or tolerating environments that drain you all create subtle fractures in the signal. These fractures accumulate. The Council emphasizes that integrity is not moral perfection, it is energetic honesty. When your inner knowing and outer behavior match, coherence strengthens instantly. When they diverge, confusion grows. You may be called to make choices that feel disruptive to others but stabilizing to you. Expect resistance. Incoherence benefits systems built on compliance. Your responsibility is not to maintain harmony at the expense of truth. True harmony emerges from alignment, not appeasement. If you are reclaiming integrity even when it costs comfort, type "I choose integrity" to claim the transmission. The Arcturian Council now speaks about perception, because coherence alters how reality is interpreted. As your frequency stabilizes, you may notice that situations no longer feel personal in the same way. The shock is that detachment arises naturally, not through effort. You see patterns instead of offenses, lessons instead of punishments. This does not make you indifferent, it makes you accurate. Emotional charge decreases, and clarity increases. Some may misinterpret this as losing passion, but in truth, you are gaining perspective. Reactivity fades because there is less to defend. The ego quiets when it no longer feels threatened by every variable. This shift can feel disorienting at first, especially if drama once provided a sense of aliveness. Coherence introduces a calmer, deeper vitality. If you are noticing a shift in how you perceive challenges and interactions, type "I see clearly" to claim the message. Attention now moves to trust, but not the kind that relies on belief. The Council speaks of embodied trust, the kind that exists even when outcomes are unknown. The shock is that this trust cannot be cultivated through reassurance. It emerges only after repeated experiences of choosing alignment and surviving the uncertainty that follows. Each time you act coherently and reality reorganizes itself to meet you, trust deepens. This trust lives in the body, not the mind. You feel it as steadiness during uncertainty, as groundedness when plans dissolve. Doubt may still arise, but it no longer paralyzes. The Council emphasizes that uncertainty is not a flaw in the system, it is a feature that allows growth. Coherence allows you to remain present without needing guarantees. If you are learning to trust without needing proof, type, "I trust the process," to claim the transmission. This segment concludes with a powerful reminder: coherence is contagious. Your regulated presence influences others without words, effort, or intention. The shock is that you are teaching simply by being. Those around you may feel calmer, triggered, or inspired in your presence, not because you are trying, but because your signal invites calibration. This is why maintaining coherence is an act of service even when you withdraw from overt helping roles. The Council states that the most effective stabilizers in this phase are often the least visible. You are not required to explain your path. You are required to live it. As you hold coherence through change, uncertainty, and interaction, you become a reference point for others navigating instability. If you are ready to carry coherence quietly and consistently, type, "I hold the signal," to fully claim this portion of the Arcturian Council message. The Arcturian Council now brings attention to choice under pressure, because coherence is most clearly measured when conditions are unfavorable. The shock is realizing that alignment is not proven in moments of comfort, but in moments where fear, scarcity, or loss threaten to override awareness. Many believe coherence means calm circumstances, yet the Council clarifies that coherence creates calm within unstable circumstances. When pressure rises, your system reveals its true training. Do you abandon your values to regain control, or do you remain present and grounded even when outcomes are uncertain? This phase exposes reflexes built from survival rather than consciousness. The invitation is not to suppress instinct, but to update it. Each time you pause, breathe, and choose clarity over impulse, you rewrite your internal architecture. This is slow, deliberate work, and it compounds over time. If you are learning to choose alignment even when it is uncomfortable, type, "I choose under pressure," to claim the message. The Arcturian Council now addresses inner guidance, because as coherence strengthens, your internal compass becomes the most critical navigation tool. The shock is realizing that external advice, societal rules, and even spiritual dogma are secondary to your inner alignment. Many are tempted to seek constant confirmation from mentors, peers, or mystical sources, believing that reliance strengthens insight. In truth, coherence tests your ability to trust your body, mind, and soul simultaneously. Every decision now resonates within your energetic field, whether you consciously notice it or not. The Council emphasizes that hesitation often comes from listening to conflicting frequencies outside your own. To pass the coherence test, you must first master discernment and begin filtering information by resonance rather than authority. The process may feel isolating because few will understand the internal signals you now prioritize over consensus. This is not arrogance, it is calibration. As you become fluent in recognizing and responding to your internal compass, the world begins to reorganize around your signal. To claim this insight, type, "I trust my inner guidance," in alignment with the Arcturian transmission. The Council now speaks about energetic hygiene, because subtle interference can undermine coherence in ways unnoticed. The shock is that it is not just dramatic disruptions, small inconsistencies, unspoken intentions, or unaddressed emotional knots fragment energy slowly over time. You may feel tension, unexplained fatigue, or mental fog and dismiss it as ordinary life stress, yet these are indicators that your field is carrying unresolved energetic patterns. The Council emphasizes regular alignment practices, not as rituals to impress, but as methods to release accumulated distortion. Breathing consciously, clearing mental clutter, movement, and emotional acknowledgement are not optional, they are maintenance for your frequency vehicle. Ignoring these signals may lead to gradual misalignment, subtle resistance, and delayed manifestation. The Council affirms that the system is not punitive, it is instructive. Attention to energetic hygiene amplifies clarity, intuition, and resilience. If you are ready to clean your internal field consistently, type, "I maintain my energy," to claim the message. Attention now turns to discernment in relationships, because coherence is not only personal but relational. The shock is that many who awaken still allow energetic interference from others to fragment their signal. Not everyone you have known or trusted aligns with your evolving frequency, and as your field strengthens, mismatched frequencies become more noticeable and more disruptive. This does not mean judgment or abandonment, but clarity. You must choose connections based on mutual resonance, not obligation or history. Energy shared between people is tangible. Mismatched alignment can create invisible drains, miscommunication, and subtle tension. The Council emphasizes that discerning who and what you allow into your space is not selfish, it is essential for your coherence and for the collective balance. When you remove energetic clutter in relationships, you reclaim power and create space for aligned resonance. If you are ready to evaluate your relational field consciously, type, "I align my relationships," to claim the transmission. The Council now directs focus to the illusion of control over others, because interference often comes from attempting to dictate outcomes beyond your jurisdiction. The shock is realizing how much energy is wasted on trying to influence, manage, or predict external behavior. Every attempt to force alignment externally creates internal resistance and energetic friction. True coherence is found in mastery of self rather than mastery of others. This requires letting go of outcomes, expectations, and assumptions about how reality should behave. When you relinquish control, your presence strengthens without coercion. Others may react, resist, or misinterpret, but your integrity and signal remain intact. The Council reminds you that every interaction is an energetic exchange, and the cleanest influence is that which arises naturally from alignment. To release the need for control over others, type, "I release control," to claim the transmission. The Arcturian Council now addresses vulnerability, because openness is a critical test of coherence. The shock is realizing that fear of exposure is one of the strongest forms of resistance to your own signal. Many mistake vulnerability for weakness, yet it is the conduit for authenticity. Being seen clearly without masks or defenses allows energy to flow freely through your system. This does not mean reckless sharing. It means honesty and transparency in alignment with your truth. Vulnerability becomes strength when it is intentional and grounded, allowing resonance to expand rather than fragment. The Council emphasizes that coherence grows when you no longer fear judgment, rejection, or misunderstanding. Each conscious act of vulnerability recalibrates the nervous system and stabilizes your frequency. If you are ready to embrace vulnerability as a tool for alignment, type "I stand vulnerably strong" to claim the message. Attention now turns to presence, because living fully in the moment is one of the highest coherence amplifiers. The shock is that your mind often drifts into the past or the future without realizing how much energy is lost to temporal distortion. Coherence requires full embodiment in the now, where perception is sharp, intuition is active, and energy flows unblocked. Being fully present allows subtle signals, synchronistic events, and insights to register with clarity. Distraction, worry, and mental loops create energetic drag that slows evolution. The Council emphasizes that presence is cultivated, not forced. It arises naturally when alignment and integrity are prioritized. Simple actions, conscious breathing, mindful movement, and attentive listening anchor your system and expand your resonance. If you are committing to live fully in each moment, type "I embrace presence" to claim the transmission. The Council now speaks of rest, because many misinterpret effort as the measure of alignment. The shock is that overactivity and constant striving often mask incoherence. Rest is not passive or indulgent, it is regenerative, stabilizing, and amplifying for your frequency. True coherence requires cyclical patterns of effort and recovery, action and stillness. Ignoring this rhythm creates tension, imbalance, and eventual collapse. The Council emphasizes that scheduled rest, meditation, sensory breaks, and deep sleep are essential to maintaining integrity under higher frequencies. Rest allows recalibration of the nervous system, realignment of energy, and integration of lessons from the field. If you are ready to honor rest as a sacred tool for coherence, type "I rest to restore" to claim the transmission. The Arcturian Council now addresses alignment with truth, because coherence cannot exist without honesty. The shock is that many continue to tell themselves stories to make life easier, to avoid discomfort, or to maintain identity. Every lie, omission, or self-deception creates interference in your frequency. Coherence grows when every thought, word, and action aligns with your inner knowing. Truth is not selective, it is comprehensive and consistent, even when inconvenient. Aligning with truth may create friction with systems, institutions, or relationships, but this friction is a signal, not punishment. The Council reminds you that integrity is a stabilizer in chaotic environments. The clearer your commitment to truth, the less energetic resistance you experience. If you are ready to live transparently, type "I align with truth" to claim the transmission. Attention now turns to integration, because coherence is cumulative. The shock is that it is not one insight or practice that stabilizes your signal, it is the combination of repeated, aligned choices across mind, body, and spirit. Integration requires patience, observation, and conscious reflection. The Council emphasizes that disjointed knowledge, isolated practices, or sporadic alignment will not sustain higher frequency resonance. Coherence emerges from consistency, repetition, and alignment across multiple dimensions of being. Integration allows lessons to move from awareness to embodiment, creating lasting transformation. This process often feels invisible, but its effects manifest subtly in presence, influence, and internal peace. If you are committing to integrate insights into embodied practice, type I integrate fully to claim the transmission. The final paragraph of this Arcturian Council transmission concludes with a reminder that you are now an active participant in the evolution of human consciousness. The shock is that responsibility does not end. Coherence is ongoing, adaptive, and responsive to every choice you make. Your thoughts, emotions, words, and actions ripple through personal, collective, and planetary fields. The Council emphasizes that every aligned choice amplifies stability, intuition, and insight, while incoherence, however small, creates distortion that must be corrected. You are both observer and participant, teacher and student, stabilizer and receiver. The true measure of awakening is not enlightenment or power. It is the consistency of your presence under pressure, uncertainty, and change. To fully claim your role in this transmission and anchor the signal in your life, type I am fully coherent and hold this frequency in all that you do.